My name is Marc Gafni, and I'm the president of the Center for Integral Wisdom, a leading-edge think tank committed to evolving the source codes of culture. We work in the areas of education, relationships, business, entrepreneurship, politics, eros, sexuality, and recovery. And I'm here to talk about not the classical fields we're involved in, but something new that we've taken on in the think tank, which is the evolution of public culture, the evolution of consciousness in public culture. And by public culture, I mean what happens in our public spaces, what happens on the internet, what happens in the public discourse between the sexes, between men and women, what happens in the way we handle conflict in our public spaces. And the reason, I and the think tank, all of us came together and realized that this was part of our work, that we're deeply committed to taking a stand on these issues, is because I personally, and we as a community, experienced the horror of false complaints. Particularly, in 2006, when I was living in Israel, experienced a public attack in which public complaints of sexual harassment were made against me. Let me say at the outset, the complaints were categorically not true. They've been proven demonstrably not true, but they wreaked enormous havoc in my life. I landed in Israel on May 11th, 2006, completely unaware that there was any issue or any problem. And I landed into a nightmare in which people in my organization had made false complaints and had actually claimed that those false complaints were registered as police complaints. In Israel, sexual harassment is a felony. It's punishable by jail time of several years. And so the threat, the shock, the horror was really beyond imagination. It took 8 years till 2014 to learn that actually there never were any police complaints. There never were any complaints registered by the police. And it took 2 years between 2006 and 2008 to recover evidence that had been deleted from my computer in order to fully prove that the complaints were categorically false. Now, why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this not merely because it caused me enormous pain, beyond imagination, not merely because it was devastating to my family, not merely because it took down 10 years of work that I had done. I'm here because there's something much bigger than Mark or my circle of friends and colleagues, as important as those are, and I love them dearly, but there's something much bigger at stake, which is we have to recognize that false complaints exist. As long as there have been complaints in human history, there have been false complaints. And there's a myth in culture which needs to be busted. And here's how it works. Men are predators. Men are sexual harassers. Women complain. When they complain, they're always telling the truth. Neither of those are true. Most men are not harassers. Most men honor the feminine greatly. I've never sexually harassed anyone in my life, and I stand fully against any form of sexual harassment. And most women don't make false complaints, but some women do, just like some men sexually harass. And we take it as a given that if a complaint is made, it must be true. So much so that today, just the fact that a complaint of sexual harassment has been made without any fact-checking, without any fair process, without cross-checking evidence, the very fact of a complaint is enough to wreak massive destruction in a person's life.